How old was Manute Bol when he played in the NBA? Was he 22, as the official records claimed, or 42, maybe even 50? That sounds ridiculous, right? Except there's a real chance it's true. And if it is, then the NBA may have had a player in his 40s, maybe even in his 50s, blocking shots, dunking, and sprinting up and down the court, decades before LeBron ever defied Father Time. This is the story of Manute Bol, a player unlike anything we've seen. 7'7", paper thin, fearless, and cloaked in mystery. A player whose age was literally made up. Today we're diving into one of the most bizarre and fascinating controversies in NBA histories. Not a scandal about peds or gambling, but age. Because when it came to Manute Bol, even the most basic question, how old are you, had no real answer. And the craziest part, a college coach literally gave him a birthday out of thin air, just so he could play basketball. This isn't just a quirky footnote, it speaks to deeper issues about international recruitment, systemic inequalities, and how far people are willing to go to bend the truth when they see potential in someone. When Manute Bol arrived in the United States from Sudan in the mid-1980s, he was already turning heads. Not because of hype, not because of highlight tapes, because of his height. 7'7", that's taller than Yao Ming, taller than Shaq and Wilt. Manute Bol wasn't just tall, he was a human skyscraper. But while his height was obvious, everything else was a mystery. Where exactly was he from? What village? What tribe? And most importantly, how old was he? Nobody really knew. Not Manute, not the translator, not the scout who brought him over. Not even the coach who signed him. And that coach, Kevin McKay, would make one of the boldest decisions in basketball history. Mackey was the head coach at Cleveland State University when he learned about Manute Bol. This wasn't just a tall guy. This was a generational shot blocker with incredible instincts and a wingspan that defied geometry. And Mackey wanted him badly. But there was a problem. Bol didn't have a birth certificate, no documentation, no verifiable age. This wasn't uncommon for African-born athletes, especially those from rural areas. In places like Sudan, birth registration systems are often incomplete due to poverty, war, and bureaucratic issues. So Mackey did something drastic. He made up a birthday. He said, and I quote, "I gave him his birthday because they didn't know how old he was." Bol had no idea of his age, and the kid who came over with him didn't know either. "I wanted to make sure he was young enough. I think he was in his 40s, but there's no way ever of really knowing." Just let that sink in. An NCAA coach fabricated an age, submitted it to the school, and essentially built a program around a player who could have been twice as old as advertised. It wasn't fraud for money, it wasn't cheating the system, it was hope. Hope that Bol could have a shot at an NBA career. And believe it or not, that gamble paid off. So how old was Bol really? The official record lists him as born in 1962, which would have made him 23 when he entered the NBA in 1985. But that's just the paperwork. Let's consider the evidence. Kevin Mackey, the coach who recruited him, openly stated he thought Bol was in his 40s. Former NBA teammate Jason Williams claimed Bol was 55 when he retired from the NBA in 1995. Manute himself allegedly had no clue what year he was born in. There's no birth certificate, no record of school, no written documentation from Sudan. And it's not unprecedented. Thon Maker, another South Sudanese Australian player drafted in 2016, faced similar controversy. Despite claiming to be 19, old high school yearbooks, an expired passport, and conflicting transcripts suggested he could have been as old as 23. In both cases, the problem isn't dishonesty, it's infrastructure. These players grew up in regions without centralized records, often fleeing war, poverty, or displacement. It's not about cheating, it's about surviving. So if Manute Bol was, say, 45 when he joined the NBA, it's entirely possible no one, not even Bol, knew the truth. But what we do know is that age didn't stop him from becoming a force. So let's talk about his career. Because whether he was 23 or 43, what he did on the court was incredible. He led the NBA in blocks twice, in 1986 and 1989. He remains the only player in league history with more blocks, 2,086, than points, 1,599. He once blocked 11 shots in a single game. He shot threes, he ran the floor, he even threw down dunks despite weighing under 200 pounds. And his impact wasn't just statistical. He changed games defensively just by standing near the paint. Players would alter shots mid-air just to avoid him. He was a real-life cheat code in an era that had no answer for that kind of length. And remember, this was before sports science, before personalized diets and load management. If Bol really was in his 40s or older when he played, his ability to compete at that level is nothing short of astonishing. Think about how we celebrate LeBron for playing into his late 30s and now his 40s. What if Bol did that 10 years older, with no training staff, no supplements, and no analytics? That makes him not just unique, but almost mythical. What's often lost in this discussion is who Bol was as a person as well. He wasn't just a towering enigma, he was deeply committed to helping others. Bol donated millions of dollars to Sudanese charities. He funded schools, built hospitals, and advocated for peace during the Second Sudanese Civil War. At times, he gave away nearly all his NBA earnings to support his people. He once played a minor league hockey game just to raise money for refugees. Even after his NBA career ended, Bol was involved in activism until his death in 2010 from kidney failure and complications from Stevens-Johnson syndrome. So while his age may forever be a mystery, his heart, his values, and his legacy are crystal clear. He wasn't just tall, he stood for something. So what does this all mean for the NBA and international basketball? Well, it reveals a lot about how the league can handle African-born athletes. The lack of infrastructure in war-torn countries means players like Bol and Thon Maker often arrive in the US without documentation, making them vulnerable to exploitation or doubt. But it also shows how talent, hope, and belief can overcome barriers. Coach Mackey made a wild, controversial call, giving a player a fictional birthday, but he did it because he saw something real. He saw potential. And in doing so, he challenged the rigidity of the system. Today, we obsess over draft age. We analyze a player's upside based on whether they're 19 or 22. But he was a guy who may have been 45 and still led the league in blocks. Maybe potential isn't about age. Maybe it's about belief and opportunity. So where does Manute Bol sit in NBA history? He's an icon, a defensive legend, a mystery, a man who might have redefined what aging in the NBA looks like before anyone realized it. If he was really playing in his 40s or even 50s, he belongs in the same breath as Kareem, LeBron, Vince Carter, and all the other athletes who defied Father Time. He didn't just block shots, he blocked expectations. And for Coach Mackey, he made one of the boldest calls in NBA history. Giving someone a birthday might sound insane, because it is. But in this case, it gave a world a glimpse at one of the most unique careers we've ever seen. So what do you guys think? Was Bol really 50 years old in the NBA? Was Coach Mackey wrong to make up a birthday? And if Bol really played at that age, does that change how we rank him all time? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts on this story, because it's not just about basketball, it's about identity, opportunity, and legacy. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and hit that notification bell. My name's Damian Peters, this is Basketball Network, and I'll see you in the next one.